Now this is one of my favorite DIY Christmas projects. I got this glass bottle from the dollar store, and I also got this ceramic angel, and using my E6000 glue, I'm gonna stick the angel on the top of the bottle. We're gonna use it as a bottle topper. So I put the E6000 around the bottle edge, and I centered the angel as much as I can. Once that was dry, I got the primer, I got the slick stick from Decor, and I'm gonna give it a very thin coat, just to make sure the paint adheres well to the bottle and to the angel, because they both have a shiny surface and it's hard for the paint to adhere. Now that our primer is dry, I got my foam brush and I tapped the buttercream chalk paint. It's an off-white color from Decor, and I'm gonna tap the bottle with the foam brush. I didn't want to paint it with a brush, I just want to do the tapping technique. It gives it a little bit of texture and a rich look. After 2 coats and that angel was dry, I got the brown wax and I went over into little sections, making sure to go inside the crevices and cover the whole section I'm working on. And with a rag or a napkin, I wiped off any excess. And this is how it looks once you wipe the excess. I did the same thing on the angel, and I wiped all of the excess wax, and this is how it looks after. I kind of love how it looks like that, but we're gonna continue giving it a more Christmassy look. So I got the gold wax and I dry brushed the bottle with the gold wax. I didn't cover it in gold, I didn't paint it in gold, I dry brushed it. It gives it a very soft shimmer, a very soft gold color. All the details pop with the gold on the top and the brown on the bottom. Once our gold wax was dry, I got my clear coat and I covered the bottom of the bottle. Then I got the sequin glitter and I'm gonna pour it on the top of the bottle. Make sure to put a plate or anything under the bottle when you're pouring the glitter or the sequin so that it doesn't go everywhere. Now I put some and I worked in sections. I covered that with a clear coat and I put the glittery sequin on the top. I am loving that already. This champagne or brownish gold looks so pretty for Christmas. I tap off the bottle with my hand so that any excess sequin would fall off on the plate, and I will let that beauty aside to dry. Oh my goodness, look at this. It's gorgeous. Now I got my self-adhesive rhinestone sheets and I cut a little piece to cover this edge between the angel and the bottle. And I also made a little crown using the same self-adhesive rhinestone sheet, and I put it on the top of the angel head using my hot glue gun. Last minute, I decided to add a little gold bow, and that was it. I am so in love with how this bottle turned out. I would be making more of these in different colors, and it was only for $2.50 to get this bottle and this angel. And no one would believe that this was less than $5. This is a type of a DIY that I can proudly gift for Christmas or use them for my Christmas decor. For this project, we're gonna get a round wooden coaster. You can get that from the dollar store, a wooden coaster, rectangle, square, whatever shape you prefer. I prefer the ones from Amazon. They come in a pack of 10, 30, 15, whatever you like, and you get more for your box. So it's cheaper than the ones that you get from the Dollar Tree, and they have the bark edges. I got my chalk paint and I'm gonna color this in red. This red chalk paint is one of my favorite red shades. I get this from Decor, and we're gonna cover the whole coaster. I love this color. It looks so Christmassy. I'm gonna get my diamond shaped stencil and the gold wax, and I'm gonna stencil the coaster in gold. The gold wax, little is much. You don't have to load the brush with too much wax. Actually, I was dipping it just a little tiny bit so the stencil won't bleed. And as you can see, I just dip the top of the brush and then I brush the stencil. And look how beautiful this color combo look. We can use it as is, but let's take it to the next level. I'm gonna get the glue and I'm gonna brush around the bark edges, all the crevices, and I tapped in with the brush to get the glue inside. And once it was covered, I got the gold sheets, the gold leaf sheets, and tapped it gently with my finger to make sure the gold leaf is stuck around the edges. This is so sticky, and if you have the tiniest drop of glue on your fingers, it's gonna stick to your hand. So you gotta move slow and make sure you don't have glue on your fingers. I set that aside to dry, and once it was dry, I got my soft, dry brush and I'm gonna brush off all the excess gold leaf, just like that. I like to make the coasters in a set of 4, so I finished the 4 coasters and I'm in love with how they turned out. The last step would be protecting our coasters. I'm gonna give it a coat of a clear coat and it's all ready to use. And they turned out absolutely gorgeous. Such a beautiful Christmas high-end DIY that you can make on a budget. For this project, I'm gonna use a wooden star. You can grab a wooden star from your dollar store, or you can get a bigger one from Amazon and it's almost for the same price. I got my buttercream chalk paint and I'm gonna give it 2 coats of paint. I'm gonna cover the top, the sides, and we're gonna let it to dry. This is after 2 coats of paint. I got my French stencil that I got off Amazon, and we're gonna stencil this in gold with the gold wax. I just put a little bit of wax each time on the brush so that the stencil won't bleed and you could see the script clear and crisp. Such a beautiful stencil and it's amazing for Christmas. Now I got my brown wax. I got this wax from Dixie Belle and it's a water-based wax. And I'm gonna distress the edges of the star only on the sides. I tapped the same brush that I used for the gold wax. I tapped it in the brown wax and I went over the sides. And then with a napkin, I just removed any excess wax. I did the same exact steps all around the star. And once I was done, I got the ribbon and I'm gonna cut the ends into a fishtail. It looks more beautiful when it's cut this way. I wasn't sure what ribbon color I was gonna use, so I kind of tried the colors until I decided that I want to use the gold and burlap ribbon. So I made a bow with the burlap, then another bow with the white and gold ribbon, and on the top I'm gonna add a little gold bow. And I'm gonna tie them all together with the twine. And before we add the bows, I'm gonna make a little hanger using the twine. And I'm gonna attach both with the hot glue gun on the top. Once I was done, I got the word believe that I cut on my silhouette and I'm gonna stick it in the middle. I used the black vinyl and transfer tape to stick that on the star. You can use this star as a wall decor or a tabletop decor, or if you want a smaller size star, and you can use it as an ornament. It turned out beautiful. But as you know me, we gotta add some bling, and let's do it. I got some rhinestone and I'm gonna scatter some under the word believe using my E6000 glue. I got these mixed rhinestones with gold and clear ones and we gonna stick them around. I didn't have any pattern on mine. I just put them scattered under the word believe and I didn't put too much, just a little bit here and there. And I'm in love with how this turned out. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's so easy to make and such a beautiful piece of decor that you can add to your Christmas decorations. For this project, I got this glass star-shaped bowl from the dollar store, and we're gonna cover the edges with gold leaf using our acrylic medium. I usually use this one. I got the brush and my acrylic medium, and I covered the sides with a very thin coat. And we're gonna cover the edges using a rose gold leaf. I didn't want to cover the whole side. I wanted a distressed look, so I'm gonna cover some and I'm gonna leave some cracks in the middle just to give it this old vintage Christmassy look. Once I was done, I'm gonna set it aside to dry. Now with our soft dry brush, we're gonna brush off all the excess gold leaf. I also got these candles from the Dollar Tree, and we're gonna melt them. I just put them in water on the top of the stove on medium heat until all the wax was melted. Once that was done, while they were melting, I added all the scents that I like, all the wintry Christmassy scents. Then I got this little cute gingerbread and candy cane mold, and we're gonna pour some wax. You don't have to worry about the overspill. Once this dries, you can easily crack them from around the shape. Now that they are dry, I took off those little gingerbread men and candy canes, and I'm gonna put them aside. And for our glass bowl, I got these candlesticks, and I'm gonna stick them using the hot glue gun on the bottom of the glass, and we're gonna pour the red wax inside. And be careful, they are so flimsy. Don't make the same mistake I did or they're gonna drown. So I had to hold them with something, and I totally forgot, but they were so flimsy. I put on the tweezers, and then I bent the ends around the tweezers to hold them in place. And I kept pouring the wax until I filled all the candle. Don't make my mistake over here. First, I forgot to hold them in place with something like I did here with the tweezer. Second, I put them too close to each other. Now, once our candle was dry and ready, I cut the excess stick from the top, and I placed the gingerbread and the candy cane on the side, and I sprinkled some glitter on the top. I am so in love with how it turned out. Except that the candlesticks are too close to each other. Other than that, it smells amazing and looks so beautiful. And we'll be absolutely making more. For this project, I'm gonna use this piece of wood that I had laying in my garage forever. It had a gray paint or gray stain on the top. So I'm gonna cover this with the buttercream chalk paint, and I'm gonna give it 2 coats. With the same brush I used to paint at the top, I'm gonna go gently around the edges. It does have bark edges, so it's gonna look like snow. So it's gonna give it a really nice wintry look. So I didn't add any more paint to my brush. I just went over like dry brushing the sides. Then I got this gift bag from the Dollar Tree, and we're gonna cut this cute Santa, and we're gonna use it to decoupage the top of the wooden piece that we have here. I cut it all clean as much as I can, and then with the glue, I'm gonna cover the part that the Santa would be sticking on, and I centered it where I want it. Then again, I give it another coat of glue from the top. I give it another coat on the top, and we'll set this aside to dry. Once that was dry, I got the sandpaper and I sanded off the excess paper from the Santa, and it came off so easy. I didn't really worry about the bottom part, and you're gonna know why in just a minute. I got my brown wax and little brush, and we're gonna go around the edges. That's why when I centered Santa, I didn't really care about that little tiny piece on the bottom. And I went in with my brown wax all around. Using the tapping technique, we're gonna go around with the brush. I didn't add much wax into it. I just wanted to distress the sides. And with the same brush, without adding more wax, I just made little lines to give it the distressed wooden look. And then I went over that with a napkin to soften the wax strokes. And once that was done, I added a little bow on the top. And that was it. Our Santa Decoupage wooden piece turned out absolutely stunning. For this DIY, we're going to use one of the glittery dollar store frames, and I'm going to remove the back, and we're going to need to clean the glass with alcohol. Then I got myself adhesive velvet sheets. I got these from Amazon, and they are so easy to use, so soft, and have beautiful colors. So I measured around the glass of the frame just to get the size, and with my pen, I drew on the back of the sheet. And then I cut this with the scissors, and we're gonna stick that on the top of the glass. That's why we made sure we cleaned it with alcohol to make sure it sticks perfectly. Once I was done, I put back everything, the glass and the back of the frame. I also got this star ornament from the Dollar Tree, but we're gonna trim off the top hanger where you hang it on the tree, and we're gonna use only the star. With my hot glue gun, I'm gonna stick the star to the middle of the frame. Then I got my velvet red ribbon, and I'm gonna make a bow with that one, and I'm gonna also add a little bow on the top with gold ribbon. For this one, I'm just gonna hot glue the ends together, and I'm gonna put it on the top of the red velvet bow. So now you have a two-colored bow, and I'm gonna use that satin red ribbon to tie them from the back. I trimmed the excess, and with the hot glue gun, I'm gonna stick that on the side of the frame. Then I got this little Christmas bell that I also got from the Dollar Tree. They come in a little bag, and I stuck one in the middle of the bow. Such a high-end, easy project that you can make for your Christmas decorations this year. For this project, I got one of these round wooden coasters, and I'm gonna paint them in this beautiful pink chalk paint that I got from Dixie Belle, and I'm gonna cover the whole top. I'm gonna also cover the sides in the same color. I gave it 2 coats, and once it was dry, I put in a hook that you can actually self-tap it inside the ornament, and it's so easy. We're gonna use this little wooden coaster to make a beautiful ornament. I got a silver ribbon, and I'm gonna tie it from inside of the hook to use it as a hanger. I trimmed off the excess, and then with the glue, I'm gonna cover almost half of the ornament. I also covered the sides, and I got this beautiful faux sprinkles, and I'm gonna cover the top half and the sides. I am so in love with these colors. It kind of looks like a Christmas donut ornament. And once I was done covering all the sides and the top, I got white glitter, and I'm gonna sprinkle that on the top before the glue dries. Once my ornament was dry, I got the self-adhesive letters from the dollar store, and I'm gonna add in the word joy. Then I got pink and teal ribbon in those same pastel beautiful colors, and I'm gonna make a little bow. I hot glued the ends of the pink ribbon to make a little bow, and then I put it on the top of the blue one. And then with the same ribbon that I used to make the hanger, I tied both together from the back. And with the hot glue gun, I attached that on the top of the hook. I am so in love with how it turned out. It looks so Christmassy, and it looks delicious. I also made another one in white. I cut the word joy on my silhouette in white vinyl, and it turned out stunning. For this project, I got red and white yarn from the Dollar Tree, and I got a straw. And with the hot glue gun, I'm gonna wrap this yarn around the straw. We're gonna try to make little Christmas candy using just the straw and the yarn that we got from the Dollar Tree. I keep adding some hot glue and wrapping it until I covered the straw. Once I was done, I got the wooden skewers that you can also get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna stick that inside the straw. I got the glue, and with my fingers, I put a little bit around the candy and I sprinkled some glitter. So that was my first attempt making that Christmas faux candy. But for the second one, I did it way better. I started by attaching the wooden skewer to the straw first. It makes it so much easier than how we did it the first time. Once I did that, I got the lighter and I also burned the edges of the yarn so it won't frail, which I forgot to do the first time. Then I stuck that on the top with the hot glue gun, and we're gonna use the same steps wrapping the yarn around the straw. Now once that was done, I got the lighter and I went around the yarn because it was a little fuzzy. I noticed the first one that we did had a little fuzz around the yarn, and that makes it so crisp and neat. And this time, I'm not going to use the glue. I'm going to use the clear coat because it's not so slimy as the glue that I used the first time, so it keeps it nice and clean. And it doesn't make the yarn fuzzy. I sprinkled some glitter. I then tied satin ribbon on the bottom, and I made a little bow with the red satin ribbon, and I stuck that on the top of the white one, and I wrapped the white one around it. Let me know what you think. I actually love how this turned out. I can make more and put them into a little vase and decorate my table or my tray with them. I love how they turned out. For this project, you can grab any book from the dollar store, or you can use any old book that you have around. I had that little one, and we're gonna use it to make a Christmas tree. So this is how we're going to do it. You're going to get the first page and you're going to bend it this way in half, and then again bend it to the side. Once you do it for the first time, it's going to roll fast. I found myself going so fast after the first page. I thought it's going to take a long time, but it was actually so relaxing and I went fast. I kept doing that until I finished that little book. And of course, don't get a huge book, like a medium-sized one is good enough, just like that one. And if the book that you have is too big or too thick, you can cut the pages and just make half of it. All you're gonna have to do is just finish rolling those pages. You can make it any size that you like, it's optional. And that was it. It was done. I love how it turned out, and I was gonna use that to put on the top of the book stack that I made before with the same little books. And I love how it pairs with the star that we just made. Some people like to add that on the top of a candle holder, or you can add a little wooden stick to it and then stick it to another wooden coaster, just like that. I saw that on Pinterest. Let me know what you think. I kind of kept it simple. I like how it looks like that. Please tell me in the comments, what do you think? Should we add a candle holder on the bottom or a little wooden stick or anything? Or do you think it looks beautiful, simple as is? Now, this is one of the easiest DIY projects for Christmas. I got this red apple from the dollar store. They have them in green, white, and red, but for this project, we're gonna use the red. All we're gonna do is you're gonna get a plate or some of the glue on the top, and we're gonna make some faux candy. We're gonna make some faux apple candy. So I poured the glue on the top, and I kind of moved the apple to the sides to mimic as if you put the caramel or a white sugary sauce, whatever we put on the top. I don't really eat that, but just to mimic the syrup that you can put on the top of the apple. And then I sprinkled some gold and red glitter. I didn't have any more white straws, so I used a pencil that I also had from the Dollar Tree, and I painted it in white. Once both were dry, I made a little bow, and I stuck that to the bottom of the pencil using my hot glue gun. And then I stuck the pencil on the top of the apple. I kind of love how it turned out. You can use different colors. You can add a paint to the glue if you would like, but I love it that way. For this project, we're gonna get a hardcover book from the Dollar Tree. They have the hardcover books in so many colors. So for this project, instead of painting it in black, I got a black hardcover book. And then it was my favorite diamond stencil. We're gonna stencil the book in gold using the gold wax. So once our book was done, I got the red satin ribbon and I passed it between the pages and tied it on the top. And I got this wooden initial and I put it on the top of the book using my hot glue gun, and that was it. Such an easy and beautiful DIY piece that you can either gift for Christmas or decorate around the house. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know in the comments what was your favorite project, and I'll see you in the next one.